All right, Four Boys Garage back here today, making some jerky, and we kind of already got going. But I thought maybe we should shoot a little video. This is our first time doing jerky. We like cooking meat and other man food, but we've never done this before, so we're whipping up some jerky and thought we'd kind of get this video made and caught up to speed. At this point, we've already got it in a marinade, and we can kind of go through the process of what we did here, but at least wanted to get going. We're going to do two different batches. We're doing a high mountain jerky cure and seasoning jalapeno. So we're going to do about 2.5 pounds of that, and we're going to work on whipping up the dry blend here. I think we're going to lay our slices out on a little bit of this wax paper, sprinkle both sides, and we'll go through that more step by step. We also have this wet marinade going for the black pepper, and we've already kind of got started on that. Got a little bit of our black pepper we ground up ourselves with the spice grinder there. So anyway, kind of want to get going here, kind of get caught up to where we are, and we'll kind of go through things step by step. Okay, on to the wet marinade here, at least get caught up to where we are. We did take some whole black peppercorns and put them in the spice grinder, ground them up. We love the black pepper jerky, so this is our go-to. We ended up using the screen here to sift out some of the fine stuff so that we weren't really over pulverizing, and then we ran the coarser stuff through. We were just trying to get a pretty even mix of a little bit of fine, retaining some of the coarse stuff, but we didn't really want it to be ultra fine, so we kind of did that. I don't know if it made much of a difference, but got some of the fine stuff out and kept grinding on the thicker pieces a little bit. But the recipe we're using, we'll put a link in the description. It's a Traeger recipe from the website, and we have a Pit Boss pellet smoker, though obviously doesn't matter. But it's got some garlic powder. We didn't end up using this black ground pepper. Worcestershire soy sauce. It calls for a dark stout, and we used actually a homebrew of the neighbor who had done a stout, so we used his. So we can't really offer you a commercial option on that, but basically it has you combine all the ingredients. It wants you to hold back some of the pepper to sprinkle on after marinating, and we used a whisk to kind of whisk everything together. There's also brown sugar, and that's actually not out here. We put that away already. But after getting your wet ingredients and dry ingredients all mixed together in the bowl, kind of has you pour it over your meat in the bag, and that's where we are right now. We're gonna refrigerate overnight, about 24 hours. So this is a sterile bag that some medical stuff came in, so we're doing 3 pounds in here. So we were going to use a freezer bag, Ziploc, but it was not nearly big enough. So that's kind of where we are on this, and we're going to go ahead and get some of the meat out and throw it on the wax paper here and get our dry ingredients for the jalapeno put together, and kind of catch up at least this stuff, because it has to also go in a bag and marinate. So at least get this stuff caught up to where we are on this one, and see you back here in a minute. All right, did a little cleaning up, got the meat out, moving on to the dry mix here. And with this high mountain kit, they give you a chart. Kind of just breaks down how much of each component. 2 components, those are the curing salt and the actual seasoning. And then of course, however many pounds of meat you have. We have 2.5 pounds, so we're gonna have to work out a little bit of math, but we're gonna put the dried ingredients together. They give you a convenient little shaker. And again, we're just gonna lay out our slices on the wax paper and sprinkle one side, sprinkle the other side, and kind of move on. So we'll get our seasoning and curing salt blended together here. And it also does talk about making sure to use the butter knife and kind of scrape off flat to be accurate. They stress accuracy on this, I'm sure, to make sure you get enough curing salt in your meat. So we're gonna try to be accurate. So we'll get the stuff blended together and get after it. All right, we got our meat laid out. And this is a London broil or top round, I believe, is all the same thing, different names. We need to get a dry paper towel and get these padded off to remove some of this extra moisture, and then we can season this first side. All right, we have these padded dry. We're gonna go ahead and try to be ultra light handed on the seasoning this first time around here, and we estimate we have 5 or 6 more slices. Try to keep it mixed up in the shaker. We did end up going ahead and using the shaker. We just decided we'd try to be ultra light. Get these kind of sprinkled. And there might be people that are experienced out there screaming right now about this is not being nearly enough, and what I'm hoping to do here is revisit these if need be. Yeah, try not to be too heavy-handed, so we got to flip them and then pat the other side dry. I think one of the points I was trying to get to making was these pieces are large. We've never done this before. These slices are really big. We had the butcher slice it for us. Figured it'd save a little bit of time and effort. But I'm hoping, and I think it will make it easier to handle once they're on the smoker. Way less pieces. And then of course we can always cut them up after. After they're all done. I have a feeling that some of the boys are gonna say I just had one piece. Right? I think we can go ahead and be a little bit stronger. On these. Okay. All right, what we're gonna do is these have been patted dry on both sides and had what we think is a relatively even coat. We're gonna go ahead and toss these in the bowl. Finish the rest of our pieces, and we'll be back here in a minute. No need to show you all the repetition. All right, feel like we got everybody seasoned pretty evenly. Use the wax paper and put everybody in the pool here and gave them a little gentle tossing, turning to sort of mix together some of the juices that I'm sure that curing salt is working on pulling out. And I've got everybody in the bag here. This has to go in the fridge for 24 hours, and we'll probably be hitting the smoker with it tomorrow.
We went ahead and decided to pull the jerky out to pat them dry, and we decided there was so much moisture that we wanted to take them to a strainer over here. And we're just gonna dump the marinade into there. Just gonna get all the juice out and stuff, so.
Okay, these were some of the first pieces we pulled out of the marinade and decided they're just too wet coming out that way. So we strained the rest, but we're trying to pat both sides to dry. That's what's recommended in this recipe. We also decided that we're going to do a little bit of trimming on these. Again, we had the butcher slice this for us in advance. We had to call it in, so we didn't get to necessarily even be there, but there's some fat pieces and stuff. We'll probably go ahead and trim them off. They didn't really clean it up much. They just, looks like threw the meat up on the slicer and got it sliced. But we're also gonna trim down the size of some of these pieces. We kind of like the idea of these larger pieces. They may take longer, but there's just less pieces to handle while we're smoking. And but in order to kind of fit better, we are going to go ahead and slice some in advance. So we'll end up slicing some smaller strips. I think it'll help us fit, you know, every single inch. And I think that's the name of the game. At least it seems, is surface area on the smoker. So right now we're going to dab all these dry. We're going to finish these and set them on a cookie sheet, and then we'll get to the ones that we've strained off most of the liquid. Hopefully save some paper towels. We'll be back. All right, out at the smoker, we got both batches, the jalapeno and the pepper. We went ahead and dabbed off the jalapeno, even though that was an all dry cure and seasoning. It did have some moist spots, probably from the curing salt pulling out moisture from the meat, I'm guessing. But we went ahead and dabbed them off, even though the directions for that high mountain recipe did not say to. We just thought removing the moisture would be good pretty much no matter what, since that's the ultimate goal here. So we, on short notice, went ahead and bought these like stackable cooking racks on Amazon. We'll throw a link in there. Really cheap. I think it was like 26 bucks prime. To give us more surface area. It's not the most ideal, as you can see, but it obviously, we were able to get all 5 pounds on here. So it obviously increased our cooking area significantly. But we have all 5 pounds on. Everybody's not perfect, but for the most part, I think they'll get along. We're really hoping we can tell the difference between the jalapeno and black pepper once they're finished. But we have a pretty good idea of where they are. Got the pit boss set up here at 200, and for whatever reason we found the lid probe a little bit more accurate, and so I'm guessing it'll run right around 180, which is what they recommend for the temp on this. And it says taste often, so we used a couple little trimmings for some meat nuggets. We got them out front here so we can get to them. Just kind of barely hanging on. And I think we'll just set our timer for about 45 minutes now. We'll come back and take a look and see what we have. So we'll see you in about 45 minutes. All right, back at the smoker. About 2 hours have passed, and I think it looks pretty good. We were reading that it does not need to be as dry as some commercial jerkies for your homemade jerky. I think they probably remove more moisture for commercially made jerkies to last longer, would be my guess. But everyone knows that, you know, a little bit of flex and tenderness in the jerky is really good. We've done some nugget sampling, and it's tasting really good. Here's the jalapeno. And we've kind of started pulling off some of these pieces. We have some areas on the smoker that are a little warmer than others. It's pretty even overall, but it's more noticeable on super thin pieces of meat like this. But everything's looking pretty good. The racks really helped out a lot. We were able to get everything in one pass and, you know, have it all done and smoked in about 2 hours. Overall, really good experience. We're gonna dab off some of the excess fat and put it in the bag to store. We're gonna use freezer bags. We might vacuum seal a little bit because we made so much at one time. So We'll dab off some of that fat, put some in some bags to eat in the very near future. I think you can refrigerate for a couple of weeks. And then we're gonna, again, vacuum seal a little bit. Hopefully that should help keep it drier and protect it from any off flavors in the refrigerator. But should be about it. Again, we're gonna dab off that extra fat and throw it in some bags. And that's kind of it, closing out the jerky deal. Tastes really good. I think one more little thing worth noting, in the marinade we added all of the pepper on accident. It does say to hold half the pepper for after you pull this out of the marinade, to dry the meat and then sprinkle with a little bit more pepper. And I do wish we had done that. We did not sprinkle any additional pepper on, even though we thought we might. We decided at the very last minute to not do that because we were worried about having too much. I don't know if you can have too much. We love pepper, but we thought, you know what, we'd rather wish there was more pepper than maybe overdo it. And since we've not done this before, we didn't really know how it would turn out. So, you know, now we've tasted it. A little hindsight, yeah, definitely would have gone ahead. I think that last little sprinkle is probably critical for that really, you know, strong burn your tongue pepper taste and feel. But it's still really good. Everything's really good, and definitely glad we're doing this on a smoker because I love the real smoked flavor of things. I cannot do liquid smoke and smoke flavorings. I just can't do it. So oven or dehydrator, I'm sure, is the only way you can pick up those kind of flavors. So in any case, yeah, that's still one real regret. Jalapeno, I don't know. I kind of wish we maybe would went a little stronger than what they recommend, at least on the seasoning portion or the seasoning side. Just to kind of bump the heat on that a little bit, but still really good, and definitely anyone can eat this. I mean, anyone that can handle black pepper spice certainly can handle the jalapeno as well. So anyhow, checking out of here, all good. Definitely plan on doing this again in the future. All right, we just wanted to shoot a quick follow-up on the beef jerky here. We have a little bit of the black pepper and the jalapeno. We already got into the black pepper a few minutes ago because we just couldn't resist, and we thought that we should go ahead and get a video clip of this and tack it on. We did decide to vac seal. I mean, we have the vac sealer anyway. I honestly think it's cheaper to use this stuff than it is the freezer Ziploc bags. But had read, there are a lot of varying degrees of shelf life in the jerky world. A lot of it boils down to the dryness. It is essential that you use whole muscle meat like this. There are people that do ground beef for jerky, but I would have to imagine that has a little too much fat content. Unless you have your butcher grind this, but you'd have to trim it up good, I'm sure, beforehand. Any case, we've never had that nor made it, so I don't know much about it. Honestly, don't even want to be giving advice on shelf life, with the exception being just passing along what I had read. Dryness is the #1 factor. Refrigeration helps greatly extend the life. You can also freeze, put it in the freezer, and I think that vac sealed in the freezer you could get a year on this, but the reality is, who can keep themselves from eating it before then? That's where I am. So we're not super concerned about it. We did vac seal it because it does take up less space, and the bags are much cheaper to use, and also in the sampling of the black pepper certainly has kept out any sort of off flavors. We did keep refrigerated. I'm trying to be extra cautious, being that the whole family is eating on this. I personally don't like it cold, even though we've been eating it that way. I think it tastes so much better if it can get to room temperature at least. There's just a big difference to me. I don't know, not everyone shares that same feeling. So anyway, that's where we are on this. We did vac seal, and if you have a vac sealer, highly recommend, because why not? You know, you can make the bags perfect size. This time, we're gonna go ahead and do a little sampling. Curry's gonna go ahead and get a piece of, or go ahead and open the jalapeno, it looks like, and get his opinion on taste and flavor.
All right. The jalapeno, right?
Yeah, and we've had our samplings when we made it, but this has now been in the refrigerator vac sealed. And I will say there's a big color difference between, why don't you hold that piece of pepper out too? The black pepper recipe we did was a marinade, and it had a lot of, you know, Worcestershire, soy sauce, you know, dark colored. There's brown sugar even in there. And, you know, you can still see there's a noticeable, you know, difference in the color, and you still have quite a bit of the redness in the jalapeno, which was a cure, versus this, which was the marinade with all those dark colored ingredients in it. We are, and we've found, and we want to grab from this high mountain. They have a black pepper cure that we're going to try that to skip sort of the whole marinade process, because that is a lot easier, that curing process, than the marinade was. And quite honestly, I really think that, in my opinion, the black pepper recipe that we did make, I don't really like tasting the overpowering soy sauce, or I don't say overpowering. I think it dominates, it takes over, competes with the beef, the meat. I really just want to taste the meat and the pepper. So we're gonna try the cure and just see what that's like. This is a good recipe and everyone likes it. The marinade that we did, I think it was a Traeger recipe. It is good. It's just not what I had imagined as a black pepper, you know, jerky. So in any case, we will probably be doing that. So I guess if you're interested in how that turns out, definitely make sure to hit the notifications there, and you'll certainly see that video when it comes up. But we're gonna take a bite of the pepper here, or that's the jalapeno.
Jalapeno.
All right. So good.
Really good. You definitely get a good kick on the jalapeno.
Yeah, it's a nice level, nice spice level.
Let me go ahead and try the black pepper too.
Oh yeah, try, right? First time.
Also really good.
Both really good. And we've already snacked on it when we made it, but you know, this is after a couple of weeks in the refrigerator already, but vac sealed. One of the things we thought important to add was kind of the difference in, you know, final color and stuff, and you can actually notice that in the last video clip where we were taking it out of the smoker. You can see the kind of the redness was preserved with a cure, and I do believe, I don't have much information on the any difference in shelf life in the marinade version here versus an actual cure. I know that curing adds to shelf life, so if anybody cares about that, and I do think that, you know, it's an important thing to know and understand if you're going to make jerky and stuff like this, is, you know, how long can you keep it around. We were making 5 pounds at a time, or we made 5 pounds at a time. We split it up between the two types, so, you know, depending on, you know, there's 4, well, I guess there's 5 in our family. 4 of us, the 4 boys, eat the jerky pretty hard, I guess. Mama doesn't eat the jerky as hard as we do, but it doesn't hang around long, so, you know, keep that in mind. But I do think that it's super easy. It didn't seem any more difficult to make 5 pounds versus 1 pound. It's just one of those things that, you know, if you're gonna do all of the steps, it was just as easy to make extra, and your pizza is done. Your pizza leftovers is reheated. In any case, we're done checking out. Just want to add a quick tip, or some quick additional info anyway to this, and turned out really good. Couple of weeks in the fridge, still super tasty, and hopefully it would be for even longer, but we are dwindling down to our last few bags, so we'll have to be making that black pepper cure recipe here soon before we run out. So again, jerky complete a couple of weeks after, tasting super good. 4 Boys out.